So folks, in today's fourth stimulus check update, I want you to know this. Lawmakers in the Senate have sent President Biden new bills to sign into law. Janet Yellen is warning Democrats and Republicans about what could happen to Social Security beneficiaries if Congress does not raise that limit before next Wednesday. And folks, President Biden is feeling good about the economic recovery, even in the face of inflation. Biden has seen a high, strong jobs comeback despite the widespread reports of a labor shortage and inflation in October. That was higher than it's been in 30 years. The inflation report for November could be a 40-year high, and Americans' wallets are being squeezed across the country, though Biden made clear in a speech that it's not all bad. President Biden told reporters Americans on average have about $100 more in their pockets each month than they did last year, after accounting for inflation. Now, economists say that Americans are still feeling the toll of inflation.
Progress in the 21st century, including on issues of cybersecurity and emerging technologies, so the future generations continue to reap the benefits of liberty and democracy as we have. And the final message I want to impart as we close out this summit for democracy is that we know how hard the work is that's going to be ahead of us. But we also know we are up to the challenge, because I've said before, and as this gathering has demonstrated, the democratic world is everywhere. Autocracies can never extinguish the ember of liberty that burns in the hearts of people around the world, in every portion of the world. It knows no borders. It speaks every language. It lives in anti-corruption activists, human rights defenders, journalists, peaceful protesters, and the front lines of this struggle all around the world. And it lives in town council meetings, union elections, daily small acts that occur around the globe, whenever people come together to solve problems and to bridge differences. And in all the ways civil society empowers individuals to have a direct say in the issues that impact on their lives, that impact on them personally. And so defending democracy demands a whole of society effort. It requires all of us. The leaders of governments, we have a responsibility to listen to our citizens, to strengthen the guardrails of democracy, and to drive reforms that are going to make transparent, accountable governance more resilient against the buffering and the buffeting forces of autocracy and those who want in a naked pursuit of power ahead of the public good. You know, we have to work together with the private sector to combat corruption, to build more equitable economies where more people can share in the benefits. We have to empower our citizens to hold all of us accountable to the highest ideals, and to make sure our actions align with our words. And as we close out the first gathering, let's together reaffirm our determination that the future will belong to those who embrace human dignity, not those who trample it, who unleash the potential of their people, not those who stifle it, and who give their people the ability to breathe free, not those who seek to suffocate their people with an iron hand. You know, as the great Irish poet Seamus Heaney once wrote, once in a lifetime, a longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up.
45% of Americans surveyed over the first half of November said that increasing prices had caused them or their households some financial hardship. And that hardship is being disproportionately felt by lower-income Americans. Now, the U.S. Senate just passed and sent to President Biden the first two bills needed to raise the federal government's $30 trillion debt limit and avert an unprecedented default. The Senate voted 59-35 for the measure, with 10 Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, backing the bill, which allows an upcoming vote on raising the debt ceiling to pass the chamber with a simple majority. McConnell said that he believed the procedure was in the best interest of the country because it avoids a default. Biden is expected to promptly sign the unusual procedural measure that paves the way for the second bill, which would actually increase the government borrowing authority to pass in coming days. Schumer to reporters, I want to be clear, this is about paying debt accumulated by both parties. So I'm pleased we're able to facilitate a process with the support of members from both parties that avoids needless and catastrophic default. And Janet Yellen has urged Congress to raise the limit before next Wednesday, and Congress now appears to be on track to receive that. Republicans have been maneuvering for months to try to force Democrats to raise the debt limit on their own, seeking to link the move to Biden's proposal of the $1.75 trillion Build Back Better bill. Democrats note that the legislation is needed to finance substantial debt incurred during the former president's administration, Still to come in the prolonged legislative battles is a disclosure of the actual dollar amount for the new cap of Treasuries on Treasury's borrowing, which is expected to cover Washington's expenses through the 2022 midterm elections that will determine control of Congress. Some Republicans, including Shelley Moore Capito, said they were backing the measure because it included provisions to avoid cuts, otherwise set to take place next year in the Medicare health care program for the elderly. But Republican Senator Mike Brown said he voted no because Democrats have been spending money on a partisan basis without input from Republicans. So they have the obligation to increase the debt ceiling at this point. The break in the legislative deadlock came just 2 months after Congress agreed on a short-term lift to the debt ceiling to avert an unprecedented default by the federal government on its obligations, which would have implications on the world economy. And everybody, now in Alabama, additional SNAP benefits are rolling out this week to children who participate in the National School Lunch Program. According to their news release, the benefits will help feed an estimated 500,000 children enrolled in the program, which provides free and reduced price meals at school. The benefits will retroactively cover the summer months since new applications were accepted in August and have to be processed by local schools and the Alabama State Department of Education. Thank you again for your support, everybody. If you have any more questions about the fourth stimulus check, then be sure to leave them in the comments below. Until next time, have a great day.
Told me not to, and there's
Thank you all. I'm Senator Graham from South Carolina. I'm the ranking member, the lead Republican on the Budget Committee, and we have some news to share with the American people about the true cost of Build Back Better. And what started this conversation was a belief by Senator Manchin and many others about the original score. The original bill was scored at $1.75 trillion in cost. And the way they got that number is they took 17 new programs that would be created by Build Back Better, and they sunsetted the programs 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. If you believe these programs go away after 1, 2, or 3 years, you shouldn't have a driver's license. Ronald Reagan said the closest thing to immortality on earth is a government program. We all know that the child tax credits are not going to go away after a year. But if I'm wrong, I'd like a letter from Senator Schumer in the Democratic conference saying